vlogging hits and learn how to produce switch entertaining videos post popular vlogs today. Because the fan kid inside is here and has makes over 1.3 million subscribers. In views of 390 vlogs to date. Davao, that's all. Erwan Heaussaff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Erwan Heaussaff!
Hey guys, it's Erwan Heaussaff. Good to see all of you today. How's everyone today? Hello. Hey guys, what's up? Thank you all for coming today. I love the energy. So we're gonna keep it up. I want this session to be as chill as possible. And it's something that's very prevalent in today. And because of technology and the advancements of technology, it's something that more and more people have access to and more people actually want to get into. So that's what we'll be doing today. If you guys are interested, please listen. If ever you want to react to things or if I ask you questions, please feel free to kind of give your inputs. Okay. So, you'll hear the word vlog and vlogging used a lot today, and I think no one really stops and asks themselves what exactly is a vlog. If you look at it, if you can see the screen behind me, a vlog is basically a word that came from two different words, which is basically a vlog and a video. So video meaning vis, which is a root word meaning to see, and then vlog coming from web blog. So a lot of you are too young to remember this, but a blog basically is what revolutionized the writing industry. For the longest time, if you wanted to write or if you wanted to communicate ideas, you had to be in established magazines, established newspapers, or just have conversations with people. A blog was an outlet for people who weren't professional journalists to be able to communicate certain ideas online in a much more casual way, and in a way where most of the time, the first formats of blogs that came out were about your daily life, and that's where vlogging came from, where basically you're just documenting your daily life, but in a video format. But I think vlogging is literally just a tiny speck in the whole spectrum of digital content creation. So when people ask me what I do, I tell them I'm not necessarily a vlogger, but I'm more of a digital content creator, because every vlog is digital content, but not every piece of digital content that's put out there is a vlog. So we're going to very quickly go through these different formats. So the first one this is Will's video, because I think he basically started the whole daily vlogging in the Philippines. It's everyone that has a stick in front of them basically filming yourself. It's first person point of view, it's very intimate. A lot of people like it because it's very quick and easy to edit, and you can really develop your own personal style. So that's probably the most popular one that's out there today. But there are other forms that I want to talk about, and something that for me, just because I'm not a naturally high energy person that's very bubbly, I'm usually a bit more quiet, I'm a bit of an introvert. This is why doing this freaks me out. I like doing short documentaries because it gives me the ability to focus on one particular subject and then build the narrative and context and story around that subject without necessarily me needing to host it too much or be on camera too much. Nowadays, you find journalism pieces online from a single person. It doesn't have to be a company. So if there's someone who's a journalism major, if you like to write, you can do digital video content that speaks to who you are and speaks to what you want to do. And this can be about politics, it can be about fitness, it can be about absolutely everything. So again, you're not limited to only self-blogging. The next one is something that I particularly like to do, and that's like TV-style formatted shows where you have an intro, you have an OBB, you have montages. It's something that takes us, like, each time I shoot a video, everyone's always asking, oh, when is it going to come out? Is it going to come out tomorrow? Most of our videos take about a month and a half, so 45 days to edit. Because, and we don't put it out there, but we do a lot of it from scratch. We do a lot of the music that you hear from scratch, a lot of the audio from scratch. We take our coloring very seriously because I like vibrant colors in my videos. The editing and putting together a story, it takes a really long time. So on average, one video takes about 45 days to put together on the TV style shows. And so that's just like 4 out of a huge range of categories, from reviews to reactions to animated series to cooking series like we do online. Again, vlogging doesn't mean that you can only follow one format. You can try different things and see what sticks for you. Once you've kind of understood where you want to be, you need to understand all the different categories that are out there and platforms that are out there. So every platform that you have online, you have various pros and cons. The first one being YouTube. So YouTube obviously is the king of video content, right? The problem with YouTube is that there's just so many minutes of videos uploaded every day, so it's very hard to stand out. And it's impossible to share a YouTube video. If today I want to share my video to you guys, I have to use Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook to drive you towards my video. If I'm on YouTube, I need to get outside of YouTube to share my video, which makes it very difficult to share a video, which is why things like thumbnails and everything are so important, because you need to stand out. And what people don't realize about YouTube, it's obviously owned by Google or Alphabet now. So YouTube, more than just being a video platform, is actually a search platform. So finding a video there is all about the keywords and tags and searching for a particular video to watch it. Facebook, what's great about it in the Philippines is that it has an extremely large audience here, and it speaks to a very central Filipino value, which is the ability to share with your loved ones and friends. And so how a video goes viral on Facebook most of the time is that you're tagging your friends in the comments, and people keep watching it, you're sharing it with groups, so it's very easy to come out on it. The problem with it is that people use it a lot, so the feeds are extremely busy, and again, it's hard to stand out on that platform. Twitter, a lot of people don't know this, but Twitter has a video platform that they've been trying to push onto creators. But the problem with Twitter, again, it's real time, so it's great for interaction with people who engage in your content, but it's not necessarily the best thing for video. And finally, Instagram. What's great about Instagram, it has tons of different formats that you can use, from IG stories to IG feed to IGTV now. And it's great for short, high-impact videos. But again, it's hard to stand out because it's all about kind of real-time scrolling. And I'm going to talk about kind of like the quirks of each of these platforms in a bit. So now that you have kind of like your 4 main video platforms, you have to think about the actual formats of the videos, right? So everyone's used to seeing the 16:9, which is your standard kind of horizontal video. So it's the one you see in the tiny icon on the left there. But then after that, you have newsfeed style videos, you have 4:3, you have Instagram vertical, which is 4:5, you have IG story, which is 16:9, IGTV, which is 16:9 full vertical, right? So when you're starting off, it gets a little technical. You might not understand why these are all different. It comes down to real estate. So if everyone can take out their phones, does everyone have their phones? Okay, so open Instagram.
And follow me on Instagram.
So if you open, this is what I mean by phone real estate. If I open Instagram and I scroll Instagram, what do I see mostly? I see text, I see pictures, and I see videos, right? On average, one person scrolls like this. If I were to kind of lay out how much you're scrolling during a day, it's about 300 feet. So the amount that you're doing this is really, really long, right? So that means while someone's going 20 miles an hour scrolling up a feed, you need to be able to stop them in their tracks. And that's where video format is so important, because if I'm putting a horizontal video, you're not seeing much of the video. But if I'm putting a 4 or 5 vertical video, then I'm taking most of the space in your phone. And if in those first 2 seconds of my video I really grab your attention, then 100% that video will be better enabled for that platform, it'll be better. So each time you're doing videos, you need to think about those things. So like I said, Instagram is what I call the scrolling economy, so it's catching people in their tracks, which is why the first 3 seconds are so important. YouTube is search-based and recommendation-based, so what it means is if someone's on your YouTube video, it means that they want to be on your YouTube video. They're not randomly discovering you unless you're on the trending page or unless you randomly pop up, which is why it's so important when you're using YouTube, things like tags, hashtags, titles, thumbnails, because people need to be able, like a library, a book in the library, when you see it, you have to think, okay, that's the book I want to read. It's the exact same thing with YouTube, because you choose what you want to watch. Facebook, sorry, if you just go back. Facebook, most of the time, people watch it. I don't know if you realize it, but most of the time when you're watching Facebook videos, you're watching it without sound. Because it's become such a habit to just do it in random places. So that's why you see a lot of Facebook videos with text. It's just to make sure that people who watch without sounds can actually understand the video and then share it directly with their friends. So if you want to create content, you have to ask yourself exactly why you want to do it. Is it to be famous? Is it to be rich? Do you want to do it as a job? Is it because your job's really boring and you want to create an outlet? It's so important to determine that first so that you can determine what kind of videos you want to create. Do you want to create something that's purely entertaining and funny that takes your mind off your life? Do you want to create something that's practical and technical that people can actually use at home? That's where cooking falls for me. And so you need to answer all these questions before you actually start creating content. I create 3 styles of content, and that's what I call hero, hub, and help. Hero content is the content that I know will drive a lot of traffic to my channel. It's videos that I know will be viral, will basically help people discover me and hopefully get on the channel and watch all my other videos. Hub is probably what I do the most of. These are series, things that people can watch in one go, same format, same style of narrative, more or less the same subjects. So that's my cooking series, for example, my overnight travel series, landscapes, going coastal series. That's hub content. So you have a certain audience that keeps coming back for it. And finally, I started doing these quite a bit. It's help content. Help content is things that I do a lot of for the environment, to bring up problems in the nation and things like that. But what you'll see very funny is that Hero does very well, 3 million views. Hub does pretty well, it's about 1 million views, and Help does about 192 views. In terms of importance as a nation, I think Help is probably the most important one, but it has the lowest views, right? And that's usually because it's not what people want to see online. But for me, those 192 views are 192,000 views that are extremely engaged, and then if I can tell that story to certain people and drive them to action, then maybe that's better than getting those 3.3 million views, right? That's how I look at content. At the end of the day, for me, if I wanted to go viral every day, I could. I could just put my wife and my sister in my channel every day, right? But so a lot of people ask me why are they not more on my channel? It's because I want to try to do things that are serious, and I want to be taken seriously by brands that I work with, for the narratives that I work with. And then from time to time you'll see them, because obviously a huge part of my life, right? So what's the main difference between TV and digital? Because both of them are platforms that let you engage with various groups of people. Take ABS-CBN. ABS-CBN, I think, has about 50 million viewers in the Philippines, a country of about 130, 110 million people worldwide. In the Philippines. Digital, there's maybe about 65 to 75 million Filipinos online today. So you're saying it's exactly the same thing. You're reaching the same amount of people. The big difference is, with ABS-CBN, they have a captive audience. Those 50 million people know exactly what they're going to be getting on TV, what to expect, what formats, what style of shows. The 75 million people on digital are all over the place. They don't know what they want. Some of them want this, some of them want that, right? So that's the biggest difference, is that on TV you have an audience, on digital you need to build an audience. And you can only do that by first creating content that you're making for yourself first, and then once you kind of determine who your audience is, what they want, then you can start playing around with different formats and trying different things to try to engage new audiences to come in. When I start creating content, I go through 5 things very quickly. Stories are all about conflict and resolution of those conflicts, problems and solutions. That's what makes stories interesting. So the first thing that I do is I pick a problem, a story angle, really kind of analyze it as much as possible. Once I have that problem, I identify, I can't talk anymore. I identify the true north of that problem, the objectives, why I'm trying to tell this story. Then I kind of take those ideas, take those values that I built and I determined, and I try to kind of brainstorm them as much as possible and find different solutions on how to bring them to light. Only then will I take those solutions and say, all right, how much is this going to cost me? If I want to talk about poverty in Coron, or if I want to talk about poverty in the Philippines, and then I'm like, all right, I can do it either in Payatas or I can do it in Coron. Which makes sense financially? How am I going to cover and all that? And that's where logistics and efficiency comes into play for me. And then finally, once I have that idea, once I have the solution, I draw up the shots that I need on video to complement that story. So these are the techniques that I use that hopefully can be useful to people. I don't know if any of you are kind of like in the creative fields. The very first thing that I do is called free writing. So basically I have 5 video ideas. I write down as much as I can about one video during 10 minutes. Once I hit 10 minutes, I move on to the next video. Once I hit 10 minutes, I move on to the next video. So I keep cycling through all the videos. So hopefully what I'm doing is building perspective as I move along to bring new ideas as I go through. So ideally, I have kind of like a complete list of things that I want to do. I then take those subjects that hopefully I wrote a lot about and do what's called the 1H words, which are what, when, where, how, and why. Thank you. So I take those 6 words and apply them to the free writing to really kind of just try to contextualize the story. Once you have those 6 words, once you have the story, you can start what I call nutshelling. Basically taking those 6 H words and then determining why is it important to me as a story and why should it be important to an audience. Once I have all of that, I can kind of determine what kind of video I want to create and how I'm going to do it. And that's where you start building a story arc, right? So every single book you've ever read in your life is a story arc. Harry Potter, boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl, boy and girl get married, right? So that's a classic story arc. One story is not interesting if it moves horizontally. It's sad if it moves on a downward path, and it's not interesting enough if it moves on an upward path. So every character that you have, or every video that you have, has to go cycles and emotions. If you listen to K-pop or any type of music, that's what music does. It brings you on a journey of highs and lows, and it contextualizes your story to make it interesting to someone. If, for example, I were to tell you how I got to Davao this morning. So I woke up, I took a flight, landed in Davao. That's like the most boring story you'll ever hear in your life, right? But what if I told you, okay, I woke up a little bit late, I had my coffee, I meditated for about 10 minutes, I petted my dog Pancho, I fed him some milk, and then I went downstairs, everything was going fine at this point, and then I tried to book a Grab, and I couldn't book a Grab because everyone was super busy, so eventually I got a Grab, but he canceled, and then so I had to find another Grab, and at that point, my heart was palpitating, I was nervous, I was sweating, I didn't know if I would make it to the airport in time. Finally, eventually, I heard the beautiful cling of my phone, and I realized I was able to get a taxi and make it to the airport. At that point, I thought my problems were over, but we got to the plane, we were on the tarmac, we were already quite short in time in terms of when we needed to get to Davao, And then the pilot comes to us and says that we're 7th in line to take off. So again, I'm stressed, I'm palpitating, I'm sweaty, I'm clammy, I'm getting irritated with sounds. It's early in the morning. I'm getting very stressed. Eventually, the sweet voice of the stewardess says, "We're about to take off. Please buckle your seatbelt." And then I fell asleep and I landed in Davao. Exact same story, very different narrative. Right? What I did was I sped up how I was talking. I contextualized it to give you insights of who I am as a person. I gave you different characters so that you can picture in your mind. I painted the picture for you. And that's what you have to do through video. You have to paint that picture for people, because people don't see things in your perspective. For me, feeding my dog in the morning is not interesting. But for you, it's like, oh, cute, he has a dog, right? So it contextualizes the character, which is very important. And that's why story arcs are so important. So yeah, so that's basically everything I wanted to talk about. And I kind of wanted to tell you of why personally I decided to create. 8 years ago, I just wanted to tell a story. I didn't want to do this as a job. I was working in Russia, in Siberia. I was there for 2 years. I ran operations for a large restaurant and operations company. And I had recently gone through weight loss. And I said, you know, I want to help people try to lose weight. And so that's when I decided I needed to create a platform where I could communicate those ideas. And that's where thefatkidInside.com was born, right? And that was literally just articles. And then I started doing video, because video was a great way to visually communicate with people, making it more interesting for this generation. 6 years ago, I realized that I had built a platform. So what was the next step? In college, I messed around a lot with video because I really liked it. So I knew how to take videos. I grew up watching Anthony Bourdain, Gordon Ramsay, all the great travel cooks and everything. And I knew that if I were to come back to the Philippines and start working for TV, they would tell me how I needed to act. They would tell me, smile more, be more cute, or say corny things, but that's not who I am as a person, right? So I didn't want to start TV if I had no experience in terms of what my style is. So I developed that online so that when people started talking to me after, I could say, sorry, I don't do that, but I do this, and I can show them examples as to why it actually works. So I gained the experience, I gained the insight, and I can actually talk to those companies. Only 4 years ago that I decided to pursue this as a full-time job. And I realized a couple things. One, I built something that I can help other creators with. So maybe 50% of my time now, I actually produce and direct videos for other creators where I'm not in it. So I make most of Nico's videos, I make Solen's videos, because I've understood what creators need, but I also understood what brands need on the platform. And so I come in as kind of like a niche producer and develop for all these other people. I also realized that it was a great platform and marketing tool for all my other businesses. Whether it's my meat importation or my cocktail bars, I built a platform that I can actually talk about these businesses and hopefully drive revenue to them. So that's kind of been so I did this last night. It's actually a pretty cool side-by-side. That one on the left is my very first video that I did. Fully edited, very shitty camera. But just made it happen. 6 years ago, I shot like a cooking pilot. Never wear a sando when making barbecue. People don't find it hygienic. But that was my first kind of like trial at doing a TV show online. And then finally, 4 years ago, I started doing lots of branded content online where I could tell exactly what the brands, what they needed online and what I could do for them. So why do I do it today? It's a couple pillars under the Fat Kid Inside companies. One is to create entertaining videos. 2, create awareness around the environment. 3, document our Filipino culinary heritage, which is something I feel people are losing touch of. I want both Filipinos and foreigners to really discover the Philippines more and what it is about. Explore other parts of the world, and eventually to come full circle by working on my own full-feature documentary.